Here we are back again on the Sweet William Loco build, and here's a dinosaur in the dinosaur's workshop. I get asked quite often, why do you still use power hacksaws? Well, cheap. A couple of $100 plus a bit of freight to get it here. I think in 12 years I've put 2 or 3 blades in, and it works without me. That's the beauty of it. I can be doing something on the milling machine or talking to you, and the saw keeps on cutting. So without any more rubbish, I'll turn the thing on. And the way it works. It's a Milbo 5-inch, that's 5-inch cutting capacity, made in Melbourne about the same year as I was made, and still working. No appreciable wear in the gibs, although it's probably done this particular job a million times, and I'm happy with it. Not fast, but a very suitable machine for me. Okay, back again. Just another comment about this saw for the younger guys that aren't very familiar with them. As you can see by the paint on the blade, all of the cutting has been done on the left side, and that does come blunt after a fair bit of use. So what is now the fixed jaw can be slid along the frame of the blade, so the work material is presented to the front of the blade, and you can continue to use it until it's completely worn out. As these machines are intended to run unattended, it doesn't matter how long it takes to make the cut, and it is a little bit slower at the front of the blade, but when these machines were first built, the blades were expensive to use, so you made sure you got the maximum life out of them. Back again, sir. Here we have my CMZ L450 shaper, setting it up to work on some material for parts for my loco. It's a big old beastie. I did have a little Douglas 11-inch before this, and I found it much easier to use on small parts, but it definitely didn't have too much grunt. So we'll go through a bit of setting up. I'll run around all the oiling points and oil anything that slides that is not pressure fed by the pump, and then we'll see if we can't get it operating and show it throwing a few chips. This is the workpiece to be machined. 2 lumps of 32 square steel on top of a couple of sets of parallels. I have put a dial indicator up in the vise on top of a parallel and checked that this end is 4th hour low. I'm not going to do anything about that because it's just a matter of machining this side, flip them over end for end, and I'll make something that is parallel but rhomboid. The ends will be out a little bit, and they're going to be machined later on anyway, so it won't matter. So I'll get it all tightened up and running, and we can chuck some chips. Here's a bit of a video of the machine in action and the manual retract mechanism for the flapper box. It's reasonably unique, very well thought out with operating rods and fastener ball joints on the end. However, it limits the amount you can tilt the tool head. You can only go about 15 degrees either side, and it has to be disconnected. So it gives you a positive flapper retract. Now set ground zero if you like. I'll wind the tool down to take about a 15-pound cut just to see it's all operating properly, and then put it back into action. I'll put you back on the other side. Okay, here we are. Apply a little bit of spray lube. Take it down just a little bit. There it goes. Back again, I had to play with the feed mechanism. Wasn't tightened up, just the last bit of work on the shaper. But without taking a coarse cut now, ripping the material down. Now, I'll repeat the old stories. You can make anything on a shaper except money. I say BS for that. This machine works while I walk away if I want, and just quietly chomps away in the background. If I had a few more parallels, I'd have 4 pieces of machine material up there, all getting cut while I'm working on the mill or on the lathe. So it's a good helper, does a lot of work you can't do with other machines, and it's mesmerising. I like watching that reciprocating motion. Take you in for a bit of a chip close-up. Where these guys are winners are in long work pieces. They can scoot across them much faster than across longitudinal pieces. Of course, but yeah, do a reasonable job in a small amount of time. I could speed the stroke up a bit, but I think that this speed gives me a fairly good tool life, and I'm getting what I want out of the job, material removed. Now that is exactly what you would expect with a roughing pass. There was a little bit of pushback on the tool, and you can see that by the retrace line on the workpiece just there when I drag the workpiece back across. Now at the moment I'm just trying to get it down to size, so it doesn't really matter what the finish is like. There'll be other machining operations that'll take most of that away. So now I'll just deburr it, tip it over in the vise, and take it down to dimension on the other side. Back soon. Bit of a rundown on this part of the machine before we go. It's the second operation. Do you see the down feed? Well, I've put 1 little depth of cut in and locked it up. There's the vice screw, luckily with the handle removed. In the background there, the clutch and gear lever, and the feed operating lever, and the knurled nut where you adjust the stroke. So swing you back to here, throw a bit of lube on, and then we'll start some more fill. As you can see, the machine doesn't even grunt, taking a millimetre depth of cut. It can take several mils and it doesn't grunt. But the device sometimes loses the grip and propels the material out. This is affectionately known as the chip box. It captures most of the chips, except for those that fly directly at me with the red hot. The tool bit is a piece of cobalt high-speed steel I bought from Victor Machinery over in USA. Prices are very, very good, and the implication was that it was an American-made tool bit, but when I got it here, it had made in China written on it. I don't mind, the advertising was ambiguous, so I wasn't really thought. It would be the hardest high-speed steel I have ever ground into a tool bit, and performs reasonably well even when you're building a high house like this. I think it's about $7 per stick of 3/8 square by 4" ones. While that's cutting, I think I'll turn the fan on. It stinks like hell in here. Go in for a bit of a closer look. I'll end today's video here because it's starting to get boring. I'll take the material down to size and hopefully next week we'll get to machine some features. Okay, all for now. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Thank you.